tolerate cancel culture's intolerance. In early 2021, Gina Carano, known for portraying Cara Dune on the hit Disney Plus show The Mandalorian, was canceled. Carano, whose outspoken conservative views often stirred debates, found herself at the center of the firestorm after expressing controversial opinions on social media, including a retweet drawing parallels between the Holocaust and contemporary political discourse. She shared, and I quote, "Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to that point, where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them, simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views?" End quote. Disney, known for its progressive stance, swiftly responded to Carano's remarks by trying to force her to do or say something to apologize for the previous statements. For example, Disney executives told Carano to write her pronouns in her Instagram bio, but she refused. So Disney severed ties with her, leading to her dismissal from The Mandalorian. This incident ignited discussions surrounding the ambiguity and consequences of cancel culture. What is cancel culture? The type of cancel culture I will be talking about is the act of removing individuals from social media platforms who disagree with the current popular ideology and with the ultimate aim being conformity rather than the pursuit of justice. Cancel culture then seems to be a modern-day form of ostracism, which is exclusion by the general consent from common privileges or social acceptance. The term canceled was first coined on Black Twitter, an online community predominantly consisting of Black users discussing a wide range of social and cultural issues. It gained widespread usage and recognition through this platform, but then gained broader attraction by entering mainstream discourse. Starting in 2017, it became a commonly used term online to describe the public condemnation of individuals, frequently targeting celebrities for their controversial actions in the past. In 2020, conservatives in the US began to adopt the term cancel culture to critique what they saw of people trying to suppress their political speech. Within broader movements, such as the Me Too and Black Lives Matter, call-out culture, similar to cancel culture, emerged to address supposed abuses of power and systemic inequalities, mainly targeting powerful figures and institutions. I am arguing that while cancel culture initially emerged as a means of holding individuals accountable for their actions, it has a negative and detrimental impact on society because it suppresses free speech, polarizes communities, and forsakes the concept of grace. First, cancel culture suppresses free speech. In the past, discourse allowed people to express their views. Because of cancel culture, we rarely see these conversations anymore. Instead of having open dialogue, cancel culture now dictates what views are permissible, silencing dissenting voices and stopping the free exchange of ideas. How can a society thrive or progress if we have no open dialogue? Free speech is essential. People should be allowed to express their opinions. While some ideas are true and others are false, freely expressing opinions can help change the minds of those who share false ideas. But this is only effective if done without coercion. Correcting is beneficial, but punishing or banishing individuals for expressing ideas they are not cultured on is not the solution. Furthermore, cancel culture enforces conformity that is harmful to free speech. In 1951, an experiment conducted by psychologist Solomon Asch at Swarthmore College explored how the opinions of others influence people. Asch gathered a group of students and presented them with a simple task: match a line of a certain length with one of several other lines shown. The correct answer was obvious, but the participants were unaware that their peers were actually plants, instructed purposefully to give incorrect responses in the experiment. Despite the simplicity of the task and and the obviousness of the correct answer, a shocking 75% of individuals conformed to the group's incorrect responses when it was their turn to make a selection. They chose the blatantly wrong answer simply because it matched the group's consensus. However, in a separate setting where individuals faced no external pressure to conform, only a mere 1% of participants gave the wrong answer. This experiment demonstrates the powerful impact of conformity on human behavior, even when the correct answer is clear. People tend to go along with the crowd, even if it means ignoring their own judgment. Conformity is intricately woven into the fabric of our human nature, exerting its influence in various aspects of our lives. But conformity is sometimes good. God calls Christians to conform to Christ's likeness. Romans 8:29 reads, "For those whom he, God, foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son." In contrast, Romans 12:2 states, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect." Individuals should have wisdom in discerning what ideas to conform to. By picking the masses answers, these participants in the study went against their own judgment and along the mob's mentality. Mob mentality is when people band together to think and act the same. But as Benjamin Franklin famously said, if we all think alike, no one is thinking. Cancel culture stifles creativity by discouraging people from forming new ideas, as the fear of backlash leads to suppression. When people follow mob mentality, they choose their actions based on fear. Moreover, cancel culture is driven by fear, as the fear of being shamed for expressing opposing ideas leads to the suppression of free speech. People have an inherent fear of not fitting in. We want to be liked and accepted. People have an inherent fear. People will even give up their own freedom to do what is right for fear of going against the crowd. Just as those individuals who chose the wrong line, they demonstrated how they were free to choose what they knew was right, but gave this freedom up in order to fit in. This fear makes people silent. So who will stand up for their beliefs if everyone goes with the crowd? Second, cancel culture creates polarization, shutting people out when they do not conform to the ideology of modern culture. Cancel culture has two outcomes: conformity or ostracism. If people do not conform to the masses, the group polarizes them. Mob mentality creates this polarization, an us versus them mentality. And while this divides people into two belief systems, it attacks one side, preventing meaningful discussions between conflicting groups that could have led to common ground. On social media especially, it's easy to get sucked into social groups where one must agree with the majority's beliefs, or else you could get kicked out. This creates a gaping chasm between opposing sides, making it harder to see ideas from other perspectives. So why is polarization bad? It's because polarization leads to bullying. The mob not only casts people out, but verbally harasses them for not agreeing. In the digital age, where social media platforms serve as the battleground for cancel culture, targeted individuals face relentless waves of bullying from anonymous online mobs. These attacks can take various forms, ranging from hateful comments and derogatory messages to threats of physical violence. The anonymity and distance afforded by online environments can encourage individuals to engage in behaviors they might refrain from in face-to-face interactions, leading to a toxic cycle of aggression and revenge. Moreover, the widespread cancel culture narratives across social media platforms enhance the reach and impact of harassment, making it difficult for individuals to escape the attack and negativity and regain control over their personal and professional lives. As such, cancel culture has a culture of intolerance and division. Online mobs frequently target individuals who express opposing beliefs, leading to harassment and bullying. As Christians, we are called by God to treat others with respect and dignity, and to call out and lovingly rebuke our neighbors when they are in the wrong, as we would have them do to us. Lastly, cancel culture rejects the concept of grace. Ephesians 4:32 is a reminder of the importance of forgiveness and compassion in our interactions with others. Be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, as God in Christ forgave you. God calls Christians to live peaceably with their neighbors. Romans 12:17-18 says, "Do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everyone. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone." Christians are to live peaceably with others, if they are able. Cancel culture compels people to either conform to the groupthink, where everyone shares the same opinion, or oppose it and face punishment, contrary to the message conveyed in these verses. It should be noted, if it's possible, the Bible says Christians should live peaceably with others, if it's possible. However, sometimes this is not possible. The establishment of classical Christian schools, in response to the perceived absence of biblical values in public education, is a prime example of creating an alternative system of parallel economy. These schools not only provided academic education, but also instilled Christian principles and values into their curriculum and daily practices. By doing so, parents sought to ensure that their children received an education aligned with their religious beliefs and worldviews. Moreover, this initiative reflects a broader trend of communities establishing alternative institutions or systems to maintain their cultural and ideological identity in the face of perceived challenges or shortcomings in mainstream institutions. Whether in education, media, or business, the creation of parallel economies allows individuals or groups to exert greater control over lives and communities, shaping them according to their own values and priorities. Yet people will argue that cancel culture does hold people accountable for their actions when they are harmful, discriminatory, or unjust. James 3:5 says, "So also the tongue is a small member, yet it boasts of great things. How great a forest is set ablaze by such a small fire. Someone's unchecked tongue can inflict severe damage." They say people should hold other people accountable for the words they speak. By calling out and condemning harmful behavior, cancel culture, they say, could send a powerful message that actions have consequences and that individuals must be held responsible for the impact of their words and actions on others. Moreover, the increased scrutiny brought about by cancel culture could prompt individuals to reflect on their behavior, educate themselves, and take steps to correct any harm caused. In this way, cancel culture may contribute to a more inclusive and equitable society by challenging harmful norms and promoting accountability for actions perpetuating discrimination or injustice. I think we can all agree that we should hold people accountable for the wrongs they have done. But the real problem or question is, how should that person be held accountable? Because canceling that person is not the way to go about things. The punishment should be equivalent to the offense committed. That is justice. But cancel culture's goal is not justice. They may think it is, but in reality, they have no law. It is whatever the crowd thinks or believes at that moment of time. It's changeable. What is unchangeable? God is. And God's law is unchangeable. We need to have a standard for what is or is not acceptable social behavior. God's law determines that standard. In conclusion, cancel culture has emerged as a powerful force in modern society, reshaping discourse and social dynamics greatly. Cancel culture, the act of erasing individuals from social media platforms who disagree with the current cultural ideology, and ultimately the goal being conformity rather than justice, risks suppressing free speech, perpetuating polarization, and undermining the concept of grace. Moving forward, this nation must strive to foster open dialogue and promote compassion while challenging harmful norms. Christians in particular are called to stand firm in their convictions, speak the truth with love and grace, and resist the temptation to engage in mob mentality or judgmental attitudes. The solution for cancel culture lies in fostering environments where differing viewpoints can flourish without fear of being canceled. Individuals often face a choice: conform to ideologies they don't believe, or risk being ostracized and bullied for dissenting. To counteract this, we must cultivate parallel economies of ideas where alternative platforms and spaces allow for the free exchange of information and expression. If mainstream platforms like, say, Twitter, Facebook, or Amazon were to enforce cancellation policies, it's imperative to establish alternative websites where individuals can share their perspectives and access information freely. This movement towards diversifying platforms is already underway. By embracing this approach, individuals are empowered to reclaim their freedom and ensure that no one is silenced or marginalized for their beliefs. In revisiting the initial scenario of Gina Carano's cancellation, she was canceled for expressing ideas differing from the left wing's ideas. Carano went to Daily Wire, a conservative news and film company, and she starred in one of these films. Instead of staying silenced, Carano took back her freedom. So I challenge you all to reclaim your freedom and don't fall into the thinking of the crowd. Thank you.